welcome to the When I Wanted Out talk show. I'm your host, Teliola Kola-Edun. Thank you for being proud supporters of this show. We're very happy to have you join us again on this particular episode. Now, this episode is titled, I Got Married to My Father's Friend Who Was 35 Years Older Than Me. This story is about a 17-year-old girl giving off in marriage by her parents to her father's friend. The man was 35 years older than her, and at 17, she also became a mother to his 4 children, the oldest of which was 11 years old. As a child bride, as you can imagine, life was difficult. This was compounded by the abortions she had to have, her 2 children she had to send away to her mother, so she could focus on her education and take care of her husband's 4 children. After enduring 18 years of loveless marriage, she finally left and was reunited with her 2 children. Now, if you haven't read the full story to get all the intricate details to this story, we'll ask that you join us on all our social media platforms to read this story. Now, to discuss this story with me are 2 brilliant lawyers, Barrister Oluwatodimu Ige. Thank you very much for coming. And Barrister Obiachina Justin.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining. So now, Barrister Todimu, I'm going to start with you. What are the key points that struck out to you on this story? What struck you the most about this story?
Well, aside from the morality aspect, law and morals can be interwoven. But I looked at certain issues. Number one is the child bride. We have a plethora of laws that says that a child shouldn't be married. Number 2, reading from the story, we saw the issue of abortion. You will see that, of course, that is also against our laws. We also saw the aspect of domestic violence. And you will see that in some states, virtually most of the states in Nigeria have statutes, laws that are against domestic violence. So looking at just the 3 of them, you will see that it is, there are so many. In fact, when you look at that story, you will discover that a lot of people ought to be in jail.
A lot of people ought to be in jail. Okay, so Barrister Obiachina, what are your thoughts on this story? What struck out to you?
I think it's the concept of free will being taken away from the young lady.
Yes.
And not being able to make her choice. Although we would look at it from this perspective that as a minor, which the Constitution provides for, you are not expected to be able to know what is good for you, but your parents are supposed to be able to know what is good for you.
Yeah.
But then looking at the circumstances of the marriage in general, you would ask yourself at the end of the day, who would be the person who is suffering from the after effects of this marriage? So that was just it for me.
But who was suffering? It was
the
woman.
lady.
The lady, yes. Yeah, the little girl.
Is the decisions that were made by her parents, is it to her best interest at the end of the day? That was just what stood out for me, like her free will being taken away.
But what I see here is that religion and culture permits that they have child marriages, right? I think it was her culture. If you see, I think she's from Kogi State. I think there are parts of them that do that. So now, how does a child bride, whose culture or whose religion, I think in the northern part of Nigeria too, we see that a lot of, children are giving off in marriage because of the religion. So what do we do, with religion, with culture that promotes this? How does a child bride come against these things?
Well, you will see that considering the factors or the issues that you have raised, culture and religion, that's why the Constitution was very clear about child marriages. When that wasn't enough, the Child Rights Act was promulgated. You will now discover that, particularly in the North and the states that operate Sharia, when it comes to the law, the Constitution is the ground norm, is supreme to every other law.
Yeah.
Any other thing bows to the Constitution.
Right.
But unfortunately, the Child Rights Act too is a central, let's say we have a federal, is a central law.
Right.
Most of the states now need to domesticate the laws. Now, for those in the northern state, they have refused to domesticate the child rights law with that hiding under the Sharia law and their culture. Having said that, the Constitution is very clear that no child should be married. a child is a child until that child gets to the statutory age of marriage.
Right.
So, but they keep hiding under the Sharia law and their culture. But when we look at it, when you put the two side by side, justice is where there is a balance. Which one weighs more? The Constitution is very clear.
But I mean, many people are not adhering to this because this is something that is still going on, right? How is it that you said the parents should have weighed what was best for her? But in many cases, it's the parents that are sending them away to go and be married. Maybe for one reason or the other, they need the education to be for that. They can't handle it. This man, for instance, could handle paying her education. So the parents sent her away. Now, how do we weigh in on parents sending their children away? What is it that we can say to them? That you're destroying the lives of these children. How do we encourage them to stop?
Okay, first, before you tackle the solution, you have to look at the problem.
Okay.
Now, what encourages the parents to do what they are doing as at when they are doing that same thing?
Yes.
Okay, look at it. You already mentioned it passively, and I will just summarize it in one word: poverty. That's one of the major issues we are facing. Now, if you're unable to cater for a child, what's the essence of you keeping the child behind to suffer with you at home? So they believe that letting this child face the society, like going out to get into marriage with somebody who is much older, is a solution to the problem. Now, that is the angle in which they are looking at it from. Now, looking at it from the constitutional angle, the Constitution does not actually protect these children effectively. Why do I say this? The provision of the Constitution to start with, and giving a leeway for the states to have to domesticate the Child Rights Act. And then according to statistics, I think about 12 states are yet to domesticate the Child Rights Act.
Okay. So how do we then, like you said, the problem and then getting the solution? What do we do?
If you are able to identify the problem, then it's easy for you to identify the solution.
Okay.
First, eradicate poverty. Be able to meet these parents at the point of their needs. Now, when we look at advanced countries like the UK, there is a provision for you, for your child in your home. We can make instance to the COVID-19 period, whereby the UK government made access to some funds to the parents to cater for the welfare of the children. So if we do that in this country, I feel it's a way forward and for us to stop this marrying of children or minors at an early age.
All right, if I may add to that,
yes,
you will see that people love sanctions. We have a plethora of laws. The challenge that we have is the enforcement.
Right.
And that's why I get mad about some of our laws. Now, I'll give you an example of Lagos State. Lagos State at the time had where cultism was a problem.
Yes.
They say, people don't go into cultism and all that. They catch them, they release them. Until the Lagos State government said, if any child is caught as a cultist, the parents will go down for it as well. They sat up and said, come, if my child, not just that, the child alone is going, he's a bad child, leave him. But once he said, where is this boy from? They arrest the parents too. Why have you not touched your child very well?
Your ward, yes.
That way. So what's the next step? Child marriages. Anybody caught doing that, there should be sanctions. Look at now, the parents can shy away and say, poverty, and destroy the life. Generations have been destroyed. You will see that it has now even gone down to the next generation. The children born by that woman, they have been deprived of love because there was a time she went to school. They took
the child away from her. Yes.
And so those factors. The child feels that if my mom could have gone through this, I would also go through this. That means we need to understand that it is not just about the child, it's about the generation that is to come. So this sanction, and another unfortunate thing about this is that they say, if anybody caught in that act should pay 500,000 naira or go to prison. It should be a strict liability offense. For driving one way, you are saying that you have to lose the vehicle. If you are involved in child marriages, it should be death sentence. I'm sure that you'll be, people will sit up because there are health issues also involved. There's the fistula issues that when the child starts having sex at a younger age, we have issues of cervical cancer. So it's much more deeper than saying getting married. So we should, appropriate action should be meted out to such people. And like you also said, that giving room to the states to decide whether they want to domesticate the Child Rights Act I feel that that's an unfortunate situation. We should see a situation whereby we have made a law, then these laws should be appropriated. These laws must be enforced.
Right. So what is this issue on abortion, though? You see, because the husband mandated that she must stay in school. So having abortions was her way, his way of saying, you can't have this child. And when the child comes, the ones that she was able to keep, she has to send them to her parents' house. What does the government, or what are the laws against, abortion? In this case, it wasn't her decision for the abortion, right? So what are provisions against abortion?
Okay, first off, to start with, the provisions of the law as relating to abortion is, okay, let me break it down like this. There are laws that regulate this abortion as it is. Now, for the West, there is the criminal code, but for the North, there is the penal code.
Okay.
Or the penal code as it may be.
Right.
Now, the criminal code, which is what regulates places like Lagos, and that's the criminal code, which is what regulates places like Lagos and stuff like that, has provided section 289, section 288.
You're talking to a layman. You're talking to a layman.
I just wanted to break it down for you to understand critically, but let me just go straight to the law. The law says that if you procure a doctor to help you perform an abortion, it is an offense that is tantamount to 14 years imprisonment. Now, if you heal yourself, whether the abortion is successful or not, it is also an offense of a minimum of 7 years. Then, if you are a third party just on the fringes but aided in the procurement of an abortion, it is also an offense. Now, looking at it from her own story and looking at the provision of the law, it is an offense all way round, whether it is by the husband, so long as the child is already in the womb. Now, it is regarded both morally and otherwise that there is life breathing inside of her. So you denying somebody access to their life, because to me, and then generally, like I said, morally, it is you denying somebody else's right to life, which is against the Constitution as well. So, and the law is express. There is no provision in the Nigerian law as it is up until this very moment we're having this conversation that provides for abortion except to save the life of the mother. And that is, it was only expressly provided for in the penal code for the North.
Okay, for the North.
For the North.
Okay. So in this
But then, if I may,
yes,
there are judicial decisions that have been made in the criminal code, like for the Western side, to also provide for that.
Okay, so to help these people.
To,
so now, we're talking law, we're talking the intricacies of law. There are many child brides now. Where do they start from?
Sorry.
Where do they start from if they want to come out? The culture, their parents, the religion, the families, they don't feel like there is a way out for them.
All right. Now, you will look at that story. Let's, the man is from Kogi State.
Yes, as you.
And from what you have said, from the story, they were not domiciled in Kogi.
It didn't appear so, no. They came to Lagos.
Yes. So you will see that I find it, if the way out is the fact that you are from Kogi doesn't mean that you would operate according to the statutes of Kogi because you are domiciled in Lagos.
But how does she come out if she's not aware?
That's where I'm going.
Okay, she's...
Now, for Lagos State.
Yes.
Lagos State has agencies that assist in matters like this.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of DSVRT.
Okay.
That is this domestic and sexual violences RT. I can't really.
Yes.
They have an office in Alausa.
Okay.
In Lagos. They are online.
Okay.
They are very active. They are very proactive. From people that we have referred to them. Just a phone call. They ask you to go to the nearest police station to incident the matter. The police know what to do.
Okay.
Immediately they make the arrest or they interview whoever is involved. They move them down to Alausa.
Okay.
Then it is now a state of the state of Lagos State versus such persons.
Okay. So there is that opportunity. I think we need to get the place where people can go.
Yes, I would make that available to you.
So what we're getting at now is that we're not promoting child marriage. We do understand that cultures, religions within Nigeria do that. 12 of the states in Nigeria have not domesticated these laws, and we also have issues of enforcement of these laws. But what we have stated on this guest, with our guest right now, is that it is unacceptable for child marriages. The law of Nigeria does not permit it. So we're going to take a quick break so we know how to further push on this conversation for people in these situations. Or if you know someone that is in this situation, how can we help them get out of this relationship or marriage that they find themselves in? We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still the When I Wanted Out talk show, and we're on the issue of child marriages and child brides. Do we have any successful cases where the bride got liberated?
Now, for the domestic sexual violence response team, what they do is there have been instances, because of the peculiarity of such matters, and one needs to protect the children. What they do is when they find out such matters, they ensure if it involves domestic violence, the husband right there and there has to do an undertaking, undergo therapy, and give his word that he would not touch.
But how many men are going to bring themselves out to say that, yes, I married a child bride? How many?
Now, it has nothing to do with the man. It is the victim that we're talking about.
Okay, so
the victim makes a report.
Okay.
Then the state takes it from there. The machinery of the state takes it from there. Okay. Now, what is happening? What have you done? So it is now the duty of the police or such agencies. And now what I discovered about the DSBRT is that they have people who are passionate about it. Because most times the victims are usually victims because they don't have money. Mm-hmm. These men who have them as child bride would always have financial capacity.
That's right.
So now it is the state that finances it.
Okay.
So when you make a report, the next line of action is once they find you culpable, they charge you to court. Yes. And the matter is against you and the state. So at the end of it, once they get judgment, such persons go to jail, and unfortunately, the fine. Most times, most of them get it easy, 500,000. Yes. Pay on the spot.
Yes, and then they walk away. So there's this. Of course, you realize the issue of the Chibok girls, right? Many of them came back pregnant. Many of them came back with children. Some didn't come back, but we understand that. Now, how do we help girls like this in similar situations? Where do they go to for therapy? Who do they meet? Because their parents may not even know where to start. Where do we go to help them get normal again? Because the emotional trauma, the mental trauma, the physical trauma, just trauma as a child, I don't believe that they balance out so quickly. So what do we do to help in terms of getting them back acclimatized into society?
I think there are NGOs that are responsible for this. Okay. I'm not aware of any provisions made by the government to cater for this, but I know there are a lot of NGOs that are responsible for this. So we could just help, and then individuals too who have the best interest of these minors at heart can also help with getting them acclimatized into the society easily. Although there were reports sometimes back that some of those ladies, the girls now from the Chibok kidnap, were asking to go back. That was so sad for me when I read that report, because I felt there should have been adequate provision for them not to have missed where they were coming from.
What were they benefiting there?
That's the point. It would be more of love being shown to them, but then they coming back to the society. And let us not forget that there is this stigma that comes with, we don't even know what happened to them there, especially for those who came back pregnant, which is what the society should have grown out of by now.
So how does the society help? One, in stopping this violation, one, in acclimatizing the children that are coming back, one, in even helping the offsprings of the children of such relationships. Like, what is the responsibility of the society?
Now, when it comes to the society, you will see that the people are a reflection of the society. Yes. Number one that the society must do, which is urgently, is to frown at such bad behavior. Starting from me as a person, if I discover that you have a child bride, that ends our relationship. Our firm will not even defend you. we would rather be on the other side and offer our services pro bono.
Right.
You know, and I know there are so many lawyers, there are so many NGOs that offer such services on pro bono
Right.
to see that this despicable behavior is eradicated. Number two, most times you will discover, even when you go to look at Lagos State has a special offences court for matters like this because they don't want it to drag so long. Once you are involved in rape, molestation, sexual violation, there's a special offences court in Lagos State. Once they take you down there, the matter is expedited. You will see, the issue of Baba Ijesha and his likes. You will see that there are special provisions of the law. So if in such societies, don't blame the victim, no matter the circumstance. They say, why did she wear clothes like that? And why you work out like that? And she's now an adult. You look at her breast, look at her bum. We should stop blaming the victim. The devil is the devil. So when we look at it from that perspective, then number three, we must show love. Show love to these children. They have gone through a lot because I can imagine. I probably when I was 13 or there, when did I, those your kids should be kids. You still be riding bicycle around the old town, rolling tires and be playing with stainless plates up and down. But now she's be forwarded with taking care of 4 children.
Yeah, and you also mentioned something that the husband in this case was quite selfish because he kept getting her through abortion so that he doesn't want any more children. Just be their sister, be their mother rather. Just take care of these ones for me, So I think there's a burden on the society. I think as a society, we all need to grow because now we didn't talk about the trauma. The trauma she would have experienced for all those years. And I'm sure she still relieves it. We don't talk a lot about trauma. Have you experienced anyone that has gone through something like this and the trauma? Do you have raw, vivid,
Yes, there are, unfortunately, there are so many issues around them. Like you said, people just look at the domestic violence as the physical one.
Yes.
But there is the emotional trauma, the emotional abuse.
Yes.
Where we handle the matter wherein the husband told the wife not to work. And, anytime they got into a clash, do you know what he does? Because she's not working, he will remove the fuse of the house, go with the DSTV remote control, remove the head of the gas. What kind of, can you imagine? He marks the tuber of yam. This is a 2022 reality matter. You can imagine in such circumstances, this is emotional abuse. It's very difficult to come back from that. So aside from asking, reorientation is very important. These people have to be reorientated back into the society. There has to be a special provision for them to go on to undergo psychiatric treatment, emotional development, to enable, because the challenge is that you will see that most of the people who go to the prison, when they come back, most times they come back worse. Because by the time they are there, they are meeting people who are more difficult. So that's why they, at a point they said, it's no longer a prison, it's a correctional facility. So when it's a correctional facility, we must ensure that the correction is done. There must be psychiatric evaluation of these children. Like you said, the Chibok girls, because it's so unfortunate. How can somebody come back into the free world and be asking to go back?
Yeah, so that's the emotional trauma.
Yes, it's the trauma. So I think that we must, as a matter of urgency, ensure that all these victims are properly rehabilitated. There is a facility for them, and allow access to professionals to interact with them and ensure that they are properly reorientated into the society.
Right. I really struggled. I struggled with this story. I have to be very honest because I can't imagine a 17-year-old me being thrown into marriage. I got married a bit late. I won't say a bit late, but at least, even when I got married at that age, I still had a lot of challenges settling into marriage, So yes, I do agree that a lot of us, the society, we do need to put our hands together to put an end to this notion of putting a child, someone that should still be playing outside, running outside, we put them in harm's way. To the parents, they may not think it's harm's way. Like you rightly said, poverty. Helping to get out of that mindset. So please, mommies, daddies, you see people that are going through this, please help these children. They don't need to be married for them to bring wealth your way or for them to be educated. There are many organizations, NGOs that will be happy to take on the cause if they know that there is a need for it. And with that, we'll say we don't encourage child marriages. And please, if you know anyone that has been a victim, please let them go talk to someone, talk to a therapist, talk to someone that can help them rehabilitate themselves back into society. Would you have anything you would like to close with?
Yes, I would want to say that aside from sitting on the side arm and saying that, oh, it's already in the law, the government, the judiciary, all arms of government should sit up and ensure that this is eradicated. Because we say that somebody who is not 18 years old cannot drive.
So why should someone younger?
Why would somebody younger be married? You say, oh, somebody, and I can assure you, no underage child can take a vehicle from here to, even within Lagos, you will be in serious trouble. Not to talk of driving outside state. So if such offenders can be caught, why not make it a point of duty to make a scapegoat out of those who are infringing on the rights of other children? Why don't we, we must clamp down on it. Once we have 3 or 4 good examples, I'm sure that others will sit up. You cannot hide under poverty. I don't think it's wickedness to say it's poverty.
It is wickedness. Would you want to close out with anything?
Conclusively, I would just say this. A minor cannot give consent. And the law provides for who a minor is. It is somebody who is below the age of 18. Now, when you look at the Child Rights Act, it provides that a minor cannot give consent to a marriage. Going further, it also provides that the parents cannot also give consent when it is a minor that is involved. So it is already against the law. And for those who are hiding under the cloak of the customary law provides for it,
yes,
the Supreme Court has come out from time to time to say any customary law that is repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience is against the law. So it is very simple. For anybody who is suffering from this, you can come out, let us test the waters. Your matter cannot get to the courts and then they would overlook it. Even if those states are finding it difficult to domesticate the laws. And we are glad that it's just 12 states, even though it is still poor, because we have 36 states in total. And even the states that I read about that domesticated, I think from Jigawa to be precise, they had to, after domesticating the Child Rights Act, they had to reduce it or bring it down to be that it is not the age of 18, but that when a child reaches puberty for a northern state. So those things should be eradicated in totality.
So I think this is a cry to the government, it is a cry to the judiciary, it is a cry to the legislators, it is a cry to every arm of the government, really, that we need your help to ensure that this doesn't continue to happen. These are our sisters, these are, cousins, friends, and we need them to grow up and live a normal life. And with that, thank you very much for watching on this particular episode. We look forward to hearing your feedback on this issue. Take care and bye-bye. My name again, Teliola Kola-Edun. Take care now. Bye-bye.